What are we waiting for?
We scoping the place out, man. We ain't gonna just run up in there. That's how you get shot.
Sailor again, you are. Wow. Ooh. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely
Man, you don't know
not.
nothing about no war.
Everybody knows war. Who? Yeah. What it is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Good God, you are.
It ain't you all, it's y'all.
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 Man, you sound like a karate movie. Y'all.
Yo.
Say it from right here with some soul. Y'all.
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 Let me show your goofy ass how to do this. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Come on, come on.
Giants fans, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Rush Hour, the preview show. So today, me and Truth are in studios, and we are going to break down the preview between the Giants and the Eagles' upcoming game. We know we're coming off a disappointing week. A lot of us are losing faith a little bit that this team can make the playoffs. And of course, we're playing the Eagles, our biggest rival. A lot of emotions invested into this. But first, let me bring on Truth. We're so back, baby.
Yes, said.
That's right. Me and Truth.
Dynamic duo.
That's right. This is the best duo there is in New York Giants Rush. We do the off-season draft show, and we go unit by unit. We will be back in January. We might spend a little extra time on quarterback, given the current state of the Giants. We're going to try to get in people during that stretch that work with different quarterbacks at various times that are the top guys in college. And we'll keep you all updated as we progress, because it's going to be a little bit unique of an off season for us. In the meantime, Truth, we're here. How would you say the Giants' season is going so far? Before we just dive right into it.
Well, if you look at before the season started, just looking at the schedule and you're picking out, well, is this a game we can win? This game. I think it's a little disappointing. I would think that we would have thought we'd be a little better. Perhaps 3-3 if want to be realistic. But after watching the games, there were games that we gave away. We should have. Listen. Good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way not to win. And right now, the Giants are not a good team on both sides of the ball. I'm not gonna say they're a weak team in other areas. I think their defense is definitely a top 15 caliber team, and they show it on the stat line.
And I'd argue the front seven is top 10, top 8.
Easily.
Really?
Yep, easily. The Giants' defensive front seven is by far their strongest asset on that team, and of course their defensive line, because you have Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns there. They're the best part of that team, is that defensive line.
100%. And I think that's the thing that's been frustrating thus far about the Giants, is that you could argue there's less holes throughout the team and throughout the depth chart right now than there have been in years past, even arguably less so than 2022 when we made the playoffs. I do think we have a more set starting lineup. But the challenge is, just as you said, I mean, if we're not able to get over the hump of not being able to score, then it's going to be really challenging to win games. And if we go down by 2 touchdowns at any point, it's over.
Yep. And of course, when you lose games like this that they should have won, it's going to look directly and be pointed directly at the quarterback, and rightly so. Your quarterback, that's why they get paid that much money. And Daniel Jones doesn't seem to get that magic that he kind of had back in 22, where he led the Giants in countless fourth quarter victories, with his legs and with his arm. It's just not happening this year. They just missing something. And it's frustrating as Giant fans. I know it is. It's frustrating.
It is. And Crypto's got a good point. It's the first time we're just down in the dumps, sick of it. It hurts to lose after a while, because you almost just give up hope. You can't make the playoffs. You've been looking forward to the season all year long. And the other thing too is, I mean, and we'll get into the Eagles show in just a sec, but I don't want to waste more time of Dex and Andrew Thomas's careers while they're in their primes. I mean, we have good assets about our team, good features that can go away at really any given time. So we got to try to overlap this with a quarterback that's going to be able to make those explosive plays, that's going to be able to produce these game-winning drives. We've had such a stale offense for so many years, and I think, and help me out, Truth, because I'm not saying this for an age thing. You saw the Giants in the 70s, and you said before the show started, this is pretty comparable, right?
Yeah, this is like the first time watching this Giant team. I watched them, and I'm sure there's guys listening who are in my era. I used to watch when they had a pretty good defense in the mid to late 70s when they had Carson as a young guy. They had Brian Kelly, Van Pelt. They had John Mendenhall. They had Jack Gregory. They had some pretty good talented players on the defense side of the ball, but they just could never generate a lot of offense. With the quarterback like Joe Pacharchek and even though I love this guy Doug Kotar, they just didn't have the offensive weapons to generate a lot of points, and it just reminds me so much of that team watching you guys right now.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, let's get into it because we talk about. Let's preview this Giants-Eagles game. That's certainly what we're here for. And they've been in most of the games. They've been able to win most of the games. And this week it would be a little strange if it was any different. But, of course, it's the Eagles, so we don't know what we're getting. Let's just start off with the injury reports, though. Right now, and you tell me if you have records of anything different.
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas is out. He's out for the rest of the year. He had foot surgery in North Carolina today. Big loss. That is a massive loss. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what Bricillo has done with Azudu and Evan Neal, though. We don't know which one of those guys is starting. I am kind of curious to see if they play better than last year, given the new offensive line coach. Are you wondering that as well?
Yeah, I am, and I think I saw a lot on Twitter today. Like what would be the best strategy? What do you do? Like you just mentioned, two players right there. Do you take Evan Neal, put him at right tackle, and then move Numenor over at left tackle? That's moving two positions, or you just put Azuzu at left tackle. What would be the better solution? And I don't know. Priscilla's the one who's going to know that because he's the one that's with them every day.
It's challenging, right? Because I would argue Neal is probably better suited to play than Azudu at left tackle, but Evan Neal's been playing right tackle for the last few years, and in the depth chart, he has been practicing right tackle. Azudu has been the left tackle, and look, even if Neal's a better tackle overall, they do have to consider that crossing somebody from the right side to the left side of the offensive line is unfortunately very challenging. And we had Justin Pugh on the show that talked about that. Going from the left side to the right side is much more challenging than the fans suspect it is. So that's kind of the problem. So we'll see what they do in that area. We'll see what they do with the offensive line, and I am intrigued to see what happens. It's just unfortunate that it's against the Eagles. I know the Eagles don't have a ton of sacks. Certainly, I don't even know if they have half the amount the Giants have right now, but they give us a little bit of a run for our money. Other guys who did not participate, it sounds like Jamie Gillen has a hamstring issue. So not only do we have kicker problems, but we now have a punter issue. What do you think? What are the implications there, Truth? I didn't notice another punter, right? But that's easier been done because Gillen's one of the best.
I didn't notice anything bad about him last week when he punted. Did he? Unless I missed something, did he do something bad last week?
Yeah, he pulled his hamstring.
Oh, he did. I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we got another guy coming in.
Yep. Yeah. Let me double check on that one right now.
And
Matt Hack now has replaced Jamie Gillen.
Okay, let me backtrack. I have Bill asking me, saying that did I say Isuzu? No, I said Izudu. Isn't that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah, Izudu. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's being a funny guy.
So yeah, we got Matt Hack, who is a veteran in the NFL. He's 30 years old. He's played for the Dolphins. He's played for the Bills. He's a partner that's just gone around. Look, we got somebody back there. All I advise the special teams to do in this instance is please be conservative. Like, kick the ball out of the end zone. I don't care if they're taking it back to the 25-yard line. I just don't want to see special teams blunders, right? If this punter is Matt Dodge, I really don't know that much about him. Oddly enough, we always have special teams issues against the Eagles, but the Eagles have had special teams issues this year. Have you heard about this? I mean, last week they had their field goal blocked, similar to the Giants the week before, and I think they gave up a punt return touchdown or a kick return touchdown. They're having severe issues in that area.
Yeah, the Eagles aren't the Eagles of 2 years ago.
No.
They're very beatable, but again, the Giants have been put in this position a couple of times so far this year, Dallas, Cincinnati, where teams were kind of like in desperate mode and an opportunity for the Giants to steal a win, really, and they just couldn't do it. So this is another one. Played at home, and we'll get into that. You know, it's going to be a big game for homecoming for Barkley, right? That should be mixed emotions. I'm really curious to see what the fans are going to do when he comes out. Are they going to boo him or cheer him?
Let's get to that in just one sec. I will summarize the rest of the injuries for the team right now. Questionable is Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns. We expect them to play. Questionable. It didn't look like there was anything severe going on with them. Obviously, we have Kayvon out. Limited participation. Neighbors, he's working his way back in. Robinson, Singletary, so it looks like he's going to be back. Darius Slayton, Ty Summers, and Bryce Ford-Wheaton. The Eagles actually have some significant injuries themselves. Not as many, but they have Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mailata, and Milton Williams. The prior two, and really all three of them, are pretty impactful players for the Eagles, so that is kind of good news for the Giants to some degree. But I always worry about this. Don't sleep on their backups. We don't know what the backup tight end for the Eagles is like. Just don't offset the focus, because we have seen it where backups go in and explode against the Giants, and we hate to see that.
Yeah, especially the history of the Giants with tight ends. They usually don't do well covering tight ends. Right.
We don't want a breakout game for anybody of those sorts. Okay, so now let's get into the preview. And I cut you off. You were bringing up some great points, but now let's get right into it. Let's get into the offense. On the offensive side of the ball for the Eagles, you're right. Saquon is back.
Yep. This is going to be a very emotional game. I mean, even for the fans, us either at the stadium or watch it on TV. I think a lot of us, it's safe to say, we all were a big fan of Saquon Barkley. Yeah. I mean, I guess I was a minority when they drafted him. I know the old rule of thumb is you don't draft a running back that early, but I thought that kid had just star written all over him when they were going to draft him. So it's mixed. I wanted to see the kid do well. I unfortunately went to a rival that you don't want him to do well, especially when we play against us,
Yeah, Crypto brings up a point that I feel pretty partial to myself. I do agree with Crypto here, because we didn't really accomplish that much with Saquon. I just don't really care. It'd be one thing if Eli in his last few years, like after 2019, went to Philly. I'd probably cheer for him then. But when you go to Philadelphia, our main rival, I mean, it just is what it is. I'm gonna boo not him as a person, and not the heart and everything like that he brought to the organization, and everything he did for us. That's great, but at the end of the day, we lost, and we lost too damn much. And
so you think we're going to see more boos than cheers?
We're going to see both. I would assume more boos than cheers.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, look at Jay. Thank you so much.
Crypto, thank you so much. That's beer money for Craig, because he claims he doesn't know how to take the funds out, but we don't know. Another thing that's said. Well, thank you, Crypto. We appreciate you, man. One thing that's a super strength, too, with the Eagles is AJ Brown's been playing pretty damn good. They have Smith and they have AJ Brown. A little bit of a challenge with trying to cover two star wide receivers. Are you worried about the Giants covering them, or how do you expect the Giants to approach the dynamic wide receiver set?
It's going to be a challenge, and I'll get that. We'll get to that when I do the keys, but it's going to be a challenge because the Giants secondary, for the most part, have underperformed. For the most part, they've underperformed. You know, even though I'm still supportive of them. I mean, I know Drew Phillips has had a great rookie season. I know he's been banged up a bit, but we did expect a little bit more from Banks, and he's struggling because he's just every week he's facing the best of the best. He really is, and it's hard. I mean, that's got to be, I guess, on the defensive side of the ball, that's the hardest position to play. I never played cornerback, so I don't know how that must be to cover the elite wide receivers like that. And your margin for error is very, very slim if you think about it.
Right.
But when you look at the Eagles' offense, you know, right now they're ranked 10th offensively. They get average like 367 yards per game. They're 14th in passing, and they're 6th in rushing because of Saquon, and they're 18th in scoring, averaging just over 21 points a game.
All right, so they're getting more yards than they are scoring, but not nearly to a degree where you say, "Oh man, they're really walking up the ball in the red zone."
Right, and that has to do probably with the red zone there. Probably red zone. I think their red zone, if I'm looking at it right now, the red zone is ranked 25th right now. They're 44%, the red zone. So, and the third down is ranked 18th. They're 39%, almost 40%.
Well, they might have to settle for a lot of field goals because if there's one thing that has been somewhat of a strength for the Giants, the red zone defense does come in pretty strong a lot of the times.
It does. And you know, you got Jalen Hurts, who has just under 1,200 yards passing. Barkley's up to almost 500 yards right now, almost 482. And you got Devontae Smith leading at 303 yards, and that's mostly because of Brown being out. But now he's back, like you said. So that's going to be a challenge for the Giants.
Yeah. So, and you bring up an interesting point. I mean, let's talk about Hurts for a little bit. I mean, you know, he's in a situation where, it's obviously 2 years ago he was a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. They almost won the game. Things have kind of subsided there, and he makes a lot of mistakes. That's the one thing that's different between him and Jones. Jones I do not think has those big play capabilities in him, but Hurts makes more mistakes. Not typically as dumb as the one that like Jones made the other night, but he was having a lot of turnovers, right? And that's where the Giants can try to capitalize on, but they're not doing that great in the turnover category like they did last year.
No, I believe the Giants are in turnovers. I think they're -2 right now, and Eagles are -6.
Yeah,
so they're not faring too well. Again, this is not the same Eagles team we saw 2 years ago when they really steamrolled for most of the year.
Well, let's talk about what generally gets pointed to is one of the main issues they have, and that's Sirianni. Now, look, what's kind of funny with this guy is, well, he's from upstate New York. So as much as I always joke, oh, he's a classic Philadelphia guy, I've noticed a lot of the Eagles fans turned on him because it's like, listen, yeah, sure, our the fans, the ones that give the Eagles a bad rep and whatnot, that yeah, sure, that's one thing, but I mean, he's a if you're going to be kind of an a-hole, if you will, like Sirianni is, like you better go out there and win or be like a difference maker with the team. But they're feeling like he struggles to be the glue of that foundation of the team. It doesn't sound like the players rally behind him like they would, say, even Dable. And, you know, ultimately there's a little bit of faith loss, and they have to actually do pretty damn good to be able to come back, for Sirianni to come back. But virtually everybody hates him. I mean, what's your take on Sirianni? I just like Eagles fans, I've always complained about that. I've never really had that much of a problem with the organization as a whole. I actually think the ownership is good people. They've had good players on. Never had a problem there. Sirianni, I do.
All right. I'm going to give you a take because we talked about this. We talked about this with I got at the golf course where I work. Our owners are actually Eagle fans, and we always just talk about this. And even they don't like Sirianni. And we kind of relate him to the kind of guy you have in your group of friends in high school. If you remember this, the guy in high school who, when he had a couple of beers at him, got a little mouthy, and he would get the rest of the guys in trouble because of his mouth, but he wouldn't get into the fight. He would just stand back.
100%.
That's what Sirianni reminds you of. He's got a mouth on him, but he won't back it up.
Right. He's got to rely on everybody else to back it up. I mean, he
Right,
was jawing at
right.
Eagles fans at the Browns game. Like, what the heck was that?
Was it? I didn't really watch so much of that game. Really?
Yeah, that apparently they brought it up on the highlight show. He was and he had to apologize recently. I mean, the guy's just a pig. This is all right. This is some of these Italian dudes need to learn when to shut it. He never does. Well, truth, as a hardcore Italian, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I
on that?
know. Watching your mouth, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I maybe correct. No, I'm kidding. But look, the Eagles could very well implode. I think crypto had words about that. The Eagles look like one of those teams that's having issues to some degree. They look a little bit better than how they ended the season last year, but
That's
you don't
true.
really feel that fire. That you feel that they're on the decline. You feel things are going slightly downhill. That doesn't mean they're an easy team to beat.
No.
When they click, and let's talk about this. Every team's clicked against the Giants. Like, we're the rebound game when they're coming off a crappy loss. We've only beaten the teams that came off a good game. So that's what the Giants have to look out for. It's still the Eagles at the end of the day, and if they play good football, like if they gel properly, they are a good team, but
Yeah.
they're nothing to fear.
Yeah.
They just go ahead, Truth. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say there's talent on both sides of the ball for the Eagles. Don't be mistaken, and guarantee this game is going to be so intense, guys. I mean, it is going to be opening kickoff. These two teams hate each other. It is going to be very physical, very physical. A lot of pushing and shoving after every play. Watch.
So I gotta be honest with you, Truth. I actually expect there might be pushing and shoving. I do think that'll probably happen. I kind of suspect that it might be a little bit of a sloppy game.
You see that really?
I see it being a little bit of a sloppy, like not well put together on either side.
It might be. I think the defensive teams, both sides may control the tempo early in the game. I could see that. The Giants are so frustrated. They have pieces, I swear.
Yeah, we know crypto.
We do.
talked about
He's
this.
right. We got talent on both sides of the ball too, but we're just not clicking on offense.
No, we can't find ways to score
You
points.
can point fingers at whoever you want. We're not doing it.
Right, exactly. So let me
let's,
do this real quick. Let's preview the Eagles defense a little bit because this is more of their bread and butter. They're not having an effective pass rush like the Giants. The Giants are dominant in that category.
Which is shocking to me.
Right.
'Cause
I'd argue they're more talented, but they do have a little bit of better secondary overall. Cooper DeJean went out there. He played pretty good this past weekend. So they got to be, it's not easy areas of opportunity for the Giants to capitalize on because their offense is so weak as it is. And I expect you tell me what you expect from the Eagles defense this week. But I suspect they're going to try to shut down the run to force the Giants to pass, knowing that the Giants will probably not be able to execute the pass.
Okay. Well,
I think that's how you beat the Giants.
Right now, I'm sure they're going to want Daniel Jones to be the guy to beat him. Absolutely. The Giants, the Eagles defense is currently ranked 20th on defense. They allow about 341 per game, 341 yards. They're ranked 21st against the pass and 16th against the run. And overall, they give up. They're ranked 4th. They give up a little over 22 points a game. Like you said, there's talent on both on that side of the ball. They have only 11 sacks, and that really shocked me.
That's shocking. That's shocking given their talent.
Yeah,
they always felt like they can get $1 billion every single year.
Right, and this is what you fear. You see something, you see that stat. That stat really really jumps out at me. And this is a game where, because of the Giants with Andrew Thomas out, this could blow right in front of right in the Giants' face if they don't have a suitable left tackle. The Eagles can easily get almost getting half of those or close to those sacks in this game if it gets out of hand. That's the biggest fear I have.
Well, this will be Carson Bristow's most impressive moment. If he puts any of those tackles in the game and they give up 1 sack or less, that would be true testament to his ability as a coach.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I will say this. I watched a few of the games, like this Tampa Bay game. I watched another game the Eagles were in, a little bit of the Cleveland game. Their secondary, they do give up sometimes big plays. I noticed, but can the Giants exploit that? They haven't shown that they can go vertical, so that should be really a non-factor. You know, it really should be a non-factor unless Jones somehow magically can regain his long ball touch that he used to have early in his career.
Right. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I mean, look, if they come out the way they played against the Seahawks, they do have a chance. It just depends on what kind of defense the Eagles throw at us, and their plan of attack. But you're right. I mean, we're going to put our backups, our backup left tackle in against the Eagles' slightly underperforming but still very capable defensive front. So we'll see what happens there.
I mean, I do think that the Eagles have a better defense than Seattle.
Well, that's the problem, right? They have a much better defense than Seattle, so they're going to give us probably a tougher time.
Better athletes, I should say that. Better athletes, based on the roster, and you look at the depth chart and who plays. But again, you got to do on the field. So, but we could jump into Giants now if you like.
Let me just go through real quick, just projections overall. Some of these might surprise you. So I went to DraftKings, and they set the over/under at certain, yardage per player, certain things like where's the break-even point. I think they do the best job of projecting how everyone's going to do. So I'm just going to rip these off real quick. So Jalen Hurts, yard projection, between 200 and 225, closer to 225. That's beatable. That's not significant.
Yeah.
They project one passing touchdown. They said 2 is unlikely. That's a little surprising. Daniel Jones, it's actually the same thing. They're projecting 200 to 225 yards, closer to 200 though. And then 1 touchdown. The returns, if he got more than 1 touchdown, are significant because they don't believe he will. Saquon, 80 to 90 yards. That's the projection for the yards. That's a pretty good game. Not a slaughtering, not the homecoming bash or anything like that. Smith, 70 yards. That's 70? The projection for his yards. Yep. Five receptions, 70 yards.
That's big chunks. That's good.
The final score with the over-under being 43 and the spread only being 3, which is surprising. Even after all the injuries today, they didn't change the spread. Eagles 23, Giants 20. We will see. I would be very surprised if the Giants score 20 points. Giants, Eagles overall, obviously, and it's funny. I'm going to say this, and I'm always careful to say these things. For a while there, I was always saying the Giants, Eagles, we always lose the Eagles. It just is what it is. It's just guaranteed. I got to tell you, since 2020, it's actually not that bad. We've won every home game, at least, except for the one year the Eagles were very good, and we had to play them in the playoffs. Because we lost 3 times that year, it might make things look a little worse, but we got the Eagles in 2020. We got the Eagles in 2021. We got them at home last year. And I'd argue the Eagles were the better team in every single matchup that we somehow won. So I don't think they're the bad luck charm that they used to be. They still have the edge, but they're a better team than us. This seems pretty fair to me. The Cowboys, in my view, now are the team that we just can't possibly beat. We can't find a single way to beat those guys. They ever place the Eagles is like the kryptonite.
And then like your big brother. You can never beat your big brother up.
You can never do it. Which sucks because back when we won the Super Bowls, the Cowboys were the team that we can always kind of beat. We lost a couple of those, but we generally beat them with Eli. But yeah, so I don't feel that curse against the Eagles anymore. Especially after last year's game. We are the pen holder, which feels nice. We don't get to say that very often. But yeah, let's get over to the Giants. Let's start with the defense.
Okay. Which of course is the bright spot of the Giants team. Their defense is actually ranked 10th overall. They're surrendering 314 yards a game. They rank 12th against the pass, which kind of shocked me a little bit. And they rank 15th against the run. And overall, 9th. They give up 20.2 points per game. So they rank 9th in points. So I think if the beginning of the year, if we talked to these numbers, we would feel pretty good. If you said the Giants would be 10th ranked overall defense, that's kind of what we wanted with what we had. We brought Burns in, second year with Thibodeau, and Lawrence is a beast. You know that. I think we all would be very happy with that. So I think they've lived up to their overall talent, except for the secondary, who I think is have.
I think they'll exceed the expectations. Well, how bad is our secondary rankings wise? Because I mean, I thought they actually did pretty good last week.
Yeah, I try to find stats on that, and someone has. I couldn't find suitable stats that show me where their secondary ranked. I was trying to look up like what defense gave up the most yardage on plays, like the average. I couldn't find that because I thought the Giants did that. Have to be up there. They give up big plays, but I couldn't find it. You got. Of course, the bright spot for the Giants is their sacks. They got 26 sacks right now after 6 games, which is what is that averaging out to? 4 a game, at least 4.2, which is pretty darn good.
That's really good. That's very good. That's clearly the bread and butter. Obviously it's a little concerning that Burns and Dex didn't practice or today, but they're questionable, and I still expect them to return.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at that. I mean, the Giants Giants are on pace to get 60 plus sacks. So that's pretty good. Can you hear me?
Yep. I can hear you
okay.
just fine. Sorry, the Wi-Fi is going out for some reason. Are you able to hear me?
Oh, okay. But that's a bright spot. Of course, Dexter Lawrence is playing All-Pro. He demands double team almost every game. Nearly 50 to 80% of the time they're double teaming him, and it looks like Brian Burns is picking it up. He's got 3 sacks now, so he's on pace. And there's no doubt in my mind he's going to get double digits in sacks.
Yeah. And I will say the one thing that's impressive too is when the Giants backups on the pass rush go, like everybody's doing pretty well. Aziz went in and played a pretty damn good game.
He played well.
Yeah, and our defensive tackles, Nunez and those guys, I thought they were the weakest part of our team last year, and now, I mean, they're kind of holding down the fort.
Chapman played well. I like him. DJ Davidson did good this week.
Yeah,
he did very well, and of course they got Riley, another young lineman who did well.
Props to Bowen. I didn't expect it to be this good.
Yeah. Yeah, they did. We just got to get more consistency from the secondary, and maybe they're all picking it up. Having a healthy Phillips in there helps them a lot. I'm still not, and I was like this in the beginning of the year, in preseason. I was worried about the CB2. I was worried about it back then, and I think the Giants will address that this next season, whether it's going to be Banks and they'll look for a CB1 somewhere, or they'll get another CB2 through the draft or in free agency. Yep. I think that's going to be addressed.
I agree. These are very fixable issues between.
Oh, it is. Giants got talent. They do. They just have to listen. I thought it was a good draft. I like the Giants draft. The kids are young. They're contributing in their first year. So I know some people on Twitter are harsh on Shane with his drafting, but I think overall he's done well in the draft.
I think.
What's that? Can you hear me? Hello? Hey guys, can you hear me?
Sorry about that.
Am I back?
Yeah, we're back.
Who went away? You or me?
I went out.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't sure.
Hey, good point here. Cold. Yeah, the rookies are looking great. I'm very happy to see that.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me. I was mentioning that. Yeah, I was mentioning that. Okay.
Yep. Let's go to offense. What do you think the Giants have to do on offense in order to win the game or produce points? What do you want to see out of them they haven't been doing?
Well, I'll get to that in keys of the game. But
okay.
Right now you got the Giants. You got Daniel Jones, who's averaging like 220 yards a game passing. He's got a little over 1,300 yards. And the running, I put them both together. Singletary and Tracy, they got a combined 430 yards almost rushing. And we could see, I don't know if Singletary is coming back, but listen, the kid Tracy's playing very good football for a rookie, 5th round pick.
Very good.
I mean, talk about value.
I'm not worried about the running game right now. I'm not.
Yeah, well, it's going to be curious to see how well the Giants handle the 2 defensive tackles on the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
The interior defensive linemen against the defensive line in tackles. Jordan and Davis, I think their names are. Those 2 guys, if they can control them a bit, then the Giants are going to move the ball on the ground.
Yep, I agree.
Yep, and then you got red zone. The Giants' red zone is kind of down. It's been treading downward a little bit. It's at 44% now, but it's been treading downward. They had a couple of good games where they did well, but they haven't been doing well lately. Third down, I think they're ranked 21st in third down conversions at 36% or so. So those things they need. What shocks me is that their time of possession is ranked 3rd in the NFL. They're like almost 33 minutes. And
that's really shocking. I had no
Yes.
idea that the Giants were leading that category.
Can you imagine? And this is, and tell me, if guys listening, tell me if I'm overreacting or am I delusional here? When we watch the Giants on 3rd down, how many times does the wide receiver break his route before the 1st down marker? Then he's got to try to get the yards after they catch to get the 1st down. That's why the Giants had so many 4th down attempts in the last game. Why can't the Giants receivers get past the 1st down marker, then make their break? Am I missing something?
Well, that's been part of the challenge. I mean, early on, we suspected that this is just the play calling, which is frustrating. It's like, guys, you have to go past the 1st down markers. And this is especially true in Dallas. It was bad last week, too. We had to go for it a lot. But I was pretty pissed that it was happening in Dallas. It's like we always got – Sean was saying that, well, the strategy there was you catch it and then hopefully you get another yard, but Dallas is making good tackles. I got to be honest, even though he explained it, I wasn't disagreeing with his analysis. That's a stupid strategy. That is just stupid. If you're struggling to score and you're struggling to get yards, go past the 1st down marker.
Yes.
So I'm with you. Like, go for it. Just go for it in the air. I don't care. But the other side of it is supposedly Dable said, and he hinted at, he's calling these explosive plays, but Jones isn't throwing to the intent target, or he's calling audibles. There's some hint that that's going on. And if that's the case, Jones is an even bigger loser than I thought he was. That wasn't very nice, was it?
Yeah, that wasn't.
I feel bad. He probably grew up right around where you are in North Carolina. Truth.
He actually went. Yeah, well, before I went down to South Carolina, I lived in North Carolina, and I remember Daniel Jones. He went to Charlotte Latin. It's a private school up in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I remember them talking about him as a high school kid, how good he was. He wasn't like the number 1 prospect of the country as a quarterback. No, but he was certainly known in that area in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I remember him. Did you guys lose me again?
Sure.
Did you lose me again?
Again, it's my fault.
Oh, it's you? Fault. Okay. I can't tell if it's me or you.
I am. I'm trying to hack my neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's my fault. It's entirely my fault. We're back.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, let's go to the keys of the game right now. And you tell me, what do the Giants have to do in order to win?
Okay. For me, again, I'm going to go with time of possession. I think that's crucial. And I know the Giants are averaging around 32, almost 33. They got to up that up a bit. I'm looking at around 35. They got to get to at least 35 and just keep the ball out of the hands of that Eagles offense. Even though they're not the Eagles of 2022, they still got some weapons on that team that can hurt the Giants, especially the wide receivers. Let's see. The Giants' defensive front seven, we talked about them, how they've been playing very well. They need to continue They need to dominate the line of scrimmage against the Eagles, and you got to put the Eagles in like positions of 3rd and long. They can't let the Eagles big chunks on 1st and 2nd down. You can't do that. No team can allow an offense to do that, and especially the Giants against the Eagles. They can't.
This will be the toughest running back they've had to go against, and it's their home.
Yeah, right. And the last part is that, the Giants' offense has struggled at home. I think they've only really got 1 touchdown on home field this year, and that's got to change. They got to generate at least the minimum 20 points offensively. They have to,
because I think the Eagles will get 20, no problem.
Yeah, they have to minimum 20 points.
You're not going to get. I don't know if the Eagles get 30. Now I got to knock on wood. We don't want to blow out, but they got to figure that out on offense. I mean, if they come out like last week, we're not winning. I said this the whole time last week, and I know we're not supposed to review last week, but even if we got that fumble at the end of the game, and they didn't score another touchdown, I didn't think they were gonna. I didn't think they were gonna get it. I think
they wouldn't have moved down the field. You're right. They wouldn't have marched down the field.
No,
I like Jay's comment. The second from the bottom. I like his optimism.
I could definitely see this being the case. I can imagine like a game where Jones kind of plays like Seattle, and everyone's like, "Oh, are we back on track?" Crypto, for my sake, it's over. I don't think Jones is going to play 12 All-Pro games in a row. It's over. I'm out, and there's no coming back.
Spartan has officially timed out.
I have timed out. I timed out last year. I was hopeful, of course, he could prove me wrong, but he absolutely hasn't. You can't have the bell curve of being crappy a lot of the times to sometimes playing a little bit above average. It's just not going to work.
It's going to be like I said, it's going to be a no-sir game. We'll figure out a prediction. I'm going to do that too. But let me talk about the Eagles. The Eagles, I do believe they're gonna establish the run. It's Barkley's homecoming. They're gonna want to stuff the ball right down the Giants' mouth defensively. Knowing Sirianni, they are gonna want to show the Giants organization they made a big mistake letting Barkley go. I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna run Barkley, and then they're gonna open it up with the passing after they get the run going. That's the other key. And I think their defensive front seven got to generate pass rush. They have to generate a pass rush. If they do, and of course Thomas is out, that's a big, big loss for the Giants and a big one. So whoever that left tackle is going to be, I worry about that because, like I said, if the Eagles get 5 or more sacks in this game, it could be one of those long afternoons for the Giants.
Could be. Yeah, I think overall, the Giants have to find ways to score. They got to keep progressing the ball. They got to figure out anything that works. They don't really have weaknesses they can exploit, but I would say stick to the run. Commit to it. Find a little bit more creativity with the run plays. And then with the pass plays, just you got to go beyond the sticks. I don't care how crappy, if you don't trust your quarterback, I don't care. You have to go beyond the sticks. Because otherwise you're kind of playing not to lose, you're coaching not to lose, you're just going to lose anyway.
So you're telling me, Spartan, that, so basically David was saying this is Jones making the decision to kind of check down, and he gets rid of the ball a little too soon to receivers who don't get past the first down marker.
Dable said we will keep calling the explosive plays. Whether or not they happen, it is always so much I can personally control. He kind of gave one of those. Crypto or Cold, if you saw the same thing that I saw, I almost got the sense from that it's the plays are being called. Whether or not Jones can execute, he can't.
Did you sense like he was throwing Jones under the bus with that? Did you sense that at all?
He avoided doing it the best he could, but he kind of at least defended himself before. I don't really think he threw him under the bus, but it was more of we're trying. Yeah, and it was up to us to figure out what exactly the disconnect is there, and that's what I got out of it.
Okay.
No.
Well, let's see here. Any guys you want to do some predictions?
Yeah, I think the final score is going to be 23-20 Giants. I'm going to go with what Vegas has projected. That sounds about right. A few red zone flops from the Eagles. Actually, no, I don't know why I said that. I think the Eagles score 23 points. I'm going to backtrack. I think the Giants score.
13.
I'm thinking 16. I think they're going to have a couple of drives at the end there that play with our heart, make us think that we have a chance. We're not going to do it. So a few field goals, a touchdown somewhere. I just, I don't see us being able to beat the Eagles. I just don't think it's going to happen. But there's a chance.
Yeah, Crypto's like really. He must do. What do you call comedy night? Because he's on a roll here. I'm looking at his quotes here, comments. He's coming at you there, Spartan. He's coming at you.
He doesn't have Sean to go after tonight, so it's got to be me. Well, look, I mean, obviously we hope for the best, and yes, the Giants do need a good draft pick. I get it. I will never root for us to lose, but it does feel good beating the Eagles, no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah. My heart wants the Giants to come out with so much emotion, so much desperation, and play their hearts out and win this game for the fans. And I saw that. Boy, if you really live there, near there, I hope you have a buddy. Trip. Yeah, I hope you have a buddy who's a member there, because it's like $500 a round to play there. So it's pretty expensive.
Well, I'll sell the Giants Steelers tickets I got, and I think I might be able to start the fund.
But the sensibility in my brain is telling me this is going to be a typical Giants Sunday where they're going to tease the fans. They're going to play. They're going to have their moments. They're going to have their a couple of good moments defensively, I think. But I think in the end they're going to falter. Again, we don't know if Neighbors is playing, because that's a big one.
I thought he's playing.
All right, if he plays, that's great.
Yeah, he was listed as limited practice.
Yeah, if he plays, that's great, because he has in the last 2 weeks. And I'm glad that they're not rushing him. They're not going to take a chance, because that's a big investment. You don't want to fool around with a concussion, head injuries. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah, if they're on the fence, don't play him. I agree. So, listen, Giants fans, that pretty much brings it up. I mean, truth. Any final comments? I don't really have anything else. I mean, the Giants.
No, but I would love to go. Crypto just sent a thing here.
Oh yes, Pebble Beach.
Yeah, I would love to play Pebble Beach. Oh my gosh.
Pick a weekend, Crypto.
Oh my gosh.
I'm taking a live golf lesson from Truth in February down in South Carolina. I'm going to make the trek down there to learn from the greatest. So,
and you know what's funny about that? I couldn't even play there free, even though I'm a golf pro. I would have to pay.
What, Pebble Beach?
Yeah, they wouldn't accommodate golf pros unless you're a tour player. Unless you're a tour player, that's a big difference than golf pro.
I was going to say, if they did it like that, I think I have to pay double for how bad I am. I don't even know if they would let me play.
Oh, they'll let you play.
Oh, okay, good.
As long as you got the money, they'll let you play.
All right, gotcha. Shoot a 118 on Pebble Beach. I'll be great. But
yeah, I played out in Arizona a lot. I played the TPC in Scottsdale. I played that quite a few times. A beautiful course that is. That's another beautiful course.
I'll be playing in Arizona in 2 weeks.
Where are you going? And where are you going? Near Scottsdale?
Yeah, it's in Scottsdale. I'll get the name of it for you. Something Sticks.
Sticks, you said?
Sticks. Yeah, there's the word stick in it.
It's not Wicked Sticks, is it?
Tell you what, I'll look it up. After this, I'll shoot you a message where it is.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. You're gonna be in heaven. You're gonna play out there.
I may not want to come back. That's where everybody in the Chicago area goes for the rest of their lives. Florida's for New Yorkers, and Arizona.
You'll hit your drive a little further out in Arizona too.
Okay.
Yeah, you will.
Little hotter air, a little smoother ball. Awesome.
Yeah.
I realize we have derailed from the Giants. Listen, we obviously want the Giants to win. Do want to say thank you all for coming through, Mark, Crypto, Cole. Just thank you all, and we do appreciate you guys. Go Giants. We'll see what we can do. Always nice to be in Philadelphia. Peace and have a great rest of your week.
See you guys.